Have you ever felt like no matter what you do, you just cannot lose fat? You've tried countless diet plans, workout programs, and cardio routines, but nothing seems to work. I get it. I felt the same way, and I was stuck in a body that I hated for years, and it felt like no matter what I tried or what I did, nothing worked. Until finally I realized there was a mindset that was holding me back and keeping me fat. And once I understood that, I managed to lose 70 pounds of body fat, but more importantly, keep it off. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why that mindset is holding you back and what you need to do to break free from it so you can finally lose fat and see the results you want. Now, the mindset I'm talking about, and I have no doubt you would have experienced it at one or many points in the last few years, is the all or nothing mindset. And I'm sure you know what I'm talking about, that constant swinging between being perfect and completely falling off. You're either tracking every calorie, eating 100% clean, going to the gym 6 times a week and doing 12k steps a day, or you're not going to the gym at all, drinking every weekend, eating way too much food and ordering takeaway every evening and then promising yourself you'll get back to it next Monday. The worst part is, in the moment, that mindset can seem completely logical because it gives you that burst of motivation to where you say to yourself, okay, this time's going to be different. This time I'm actually going to stick to it and lose the fat. But when that first sign of imperfection comes, whether it's a missed workout or you ate a little bit too much food on one day, suddenly you feel imperfect and you're telling yourself, right, well, I've already slipped up. I may as well just completely go off plan. And before you know it, you've binge ate 2,000 calories and you're back to square one. And you repeat that cycle over and over again until the end of time. I lived in that very cycle myself for as long as I can remember. When I think back to a few years ago, there would be weeks where I'd have quote unquote perfect weeks where I'd slash my calories, go for a run every day, hit the gym every day, get my steps in, and feel like I was finally smashing it. Then I'd come home tired of an evening after a really busy day at work and I'd sit down and I said, you know what, today I'm going to skip my workout, I'm going to order a takeaway, and I'm going to watch TV. And after I did that, I would feel like absolute shit. And then I would throw all of my progress away, and then a few weeks later I get that burst of motivation again, and go again, and then repeat that cycle over and over again. And I never learned from my mistakes. So why is it that so many people end up stuck in that way of thinking for so long? Well, it's because of today's social media environment. Everywhere you look, there's a new guru claiming they know everything about fat loss and you just need to cut out all carbs, only eat meat, and that sugar is going to somehow kill you. And you know what? The takes are becoming more and more extreme because people are seeing they're getting views. In fact, last week I literally saw someone say that you shouldn't eat green vegetables because they are toxic for you. Like, seriously. And it's become really hard to tell what is raw information and what is absolute bullshit because there's so much of it floating around. So it's so easy to fall into the trap of just taking someone's word for it. But the thing is, 99% of the fat loss advice you see online has literally zero evidence behind it. And when you don't live up to those impossible standards and you make the inevitable slip up, you feel like a failure. And that's a problem because that mindset gets you trapped and makes you think that if you're not perfect 100% of the time, you may as well just not try. But that couldn't be further from the truth. The reality is most of the people who have lost fat and keep the fat off aren't doing an hour of cardio every day, aren't eating nothing but meat, and they definitely aren't scared of vegetables. What you need to realize is that one slip up or eating too many calories on one day is not going to throw away weeks or months worth of progress. But when all you're seeing is these topless donuts walk around supermarkets telling you that 99% of the stuff on the shelves are toxic, it confuses you. And it also makes fat loss way harder than it needs to be because then it's not even about fat loss anymore. It's about adhering to some extreme diet, extreme approach 100% of the time, which makes fat loss 10 times harder. And that's just a game you're always going to lose because every time you slip up, you're going to feel like a failure, which is going to lead to you feeling ashamed, which will lead to binges, which will lead to you starting over again and again and again. And look, real quick, if you're sick of all the conflicting information out there online, I've actually put together a free fat loss Kickstarter blueprint, which has a workout program, which I still use to this day, as well as 6 macro-friendly recipes that taste like cheat meals. So you can kickstart your fat loss journey today for free by clicking the second link in the description of this video. But the question remains, how do we break this cycle and switch your mindset so that you can lose fat and see the results you've always wanted? Well, the absolute first step is realizing you do not need to be perfect to make progress. You just have to be consistent. That's it. And that's really all it takes to lose fat. But right now your brain is telling you, no, that's not true because you've literally programmed yourself to think if you're not doing everything correctly, it's not going to work. But think about it like this, you did not gain all the fat by eating way too many calories for 1 week. So why do you think you're going to lose all the fat by having a so-called perfect week? So start by setting yourself some minimum standards. Most people go into a new fat loss program by saying, right, I'm going to do 15k steps a day, hit the gym 6 times and eat perfectly clean this week. And whilst that's absolutely fine to aim for on the days where you do feel motivation, You need to set a minimum standard for yourself that you are going to hit no matter what happens on that day, no matter how stressed, how busy, or any circumstances that happen in the day. So ask yourself this: what is it you think you'll be able to stick to no matter where your motivation is on any given day? For most people, that's going to be 6 to 10k steps, 2 to 3 gym sessions a week, and adhering to your calorie deficit 5 out of 7 days in a week. Something like that is realistic for the majority of people, but even if it's less than that, that's still fine. Just have some standards that you uphold no matter what. And that's what consistency is. It's showing up in different capacities depending on what your life allows in the moment, not following some ridiculously extreme plan that some topless guy on steroids told you to follow and then falling off a week later because you just can't handle it. Secondly, redefine what the word discipline means to you, because it doesn't mean running yourself into the ground and grinding no matter what. What discipline really means is doing what matters most, as in the stuff that moves the needle for the goal you're trying to achieve. And that can literally mean when you come home on those days where you want to do nothing other than lay on the sofa, watch Netflix, and order a Chinese. You get yourself up, you go and do a couple thousand steps, and you cook a home-cooked meal, and you watch Netflix anyway. It also means getting straight back to it after a night out when you've had a couple too many drinks. So no, discipline doesn't mean restriction or punishment. It's the ability to stay on track even when you don't feel like it. And that's such an important shift. Don't throw in the towel because of one bad day. Just keep going and you will see the results you want. Next, and this is really important, set your environment up in a way that makes it easy for you to succeed. I cannot even tell you the amount of times I used to come home, open the fridge, see there was nothing in there and think, do you know what, fuck it. I can't be asked to go to the supermarket. I'm ordering a pizza. And then another spiral would start. Always have backup meals in your fridge and your freezer so you can come home after those long days at work, open it up, stick it in the oven, and then bang, you have a hot, nice meal ready to eat that fits your macros. That one habit alone is going to stop you from going off track. Because when you're tired, when you're stressed, your brain is not going to look for the best option. It's going to look for the easiest option. So make sure the easiest option is something that moves you towards your goals. Next, and this is a massive one, you have to let go of a finish line. The reason why so many people rebound back in weight after they've lost fat is because they see fat loss as a short-term process rather than a lifestyle. You'll hear so many people say stuff like this, and I'm sure you've probably said this too. All I need to do is stay consistent for 8 weeks, or once I'm this way, I'll relax a little bit. But that's exactly why people end up regaining all the fat they've lost. So you need to stop seeing fat loss as some temporary grind you're just going to push through and start building a foundation that's going to keep you lean for life. And that doesn't mean you need to be on some kind of diet for the rest of your life. What it means is you need to find what works for you as an individual and stick to it. Because once you find that, you will stop chasing the perfect 8-week plan and start to construct a new identity where you eat well because you want to, you train because you enjoy it, and you walk because it de-stresses you. And once you reach that point, you will realize the finish line was never some arbitrary number on the scale. It was building a lifestyle that means you never have to start again. But here's the part no one wants to hear, and this is the real secret to losing fat and keeping it off for the rest of your life. And it's no more stopping. No more restarting, no more shiny plans, no more new special research supplement, and no more following these bellends on Instagram that are promising you magic solutions. Find a system that works for you and ride it out. There will be good weeks, there will be bad weeks, there will be okay weeks, there will be weeks where you feel like you're unstoppable, and there will be weeks like you just want to throw in the towel. That is the point where you have to just keep going. Stop treating fat loss like some kind of sprint. Treat it as a marathon, because it is one, and that doesn't mean it's going to take a long time. It means you need to set a steady pace and be patient. And the funny thing is, when you do that, it will actually happen faster because you will stop restarting every 2 weeks and the results will compound. I genuinely used to think that people who got in shape were different to me. More motivated, more disciplined, had better genetics, had more energy than me. But no, what they actually did was make this shift away from an all or nothing mindset and started to play the long game. And that is how I got in shape and how everyone I know has now got in shape. And look, if you want someone in your corner who's been through it himself and coached others to do it, and you want me to put together a plan for you that will last for a lifetime so that you can lose fat and finally see the results you want, click the first link in the description of this video. Other than that, I hope this video helped. If it did, leave it a like, share it with a friend, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.